have a page in my planner that I call my monthly dashboard that really is my landing page. It really tells me everything that I need to keep track of for the month. So that's what we're building today. So stay with me. Well, hi everyone. This is Crystal from A Crystal Clear Life, where we focus on planning, organizing, and living a more simplified life. And today we are living that simplified life by gathering all of the stuff that we have to do every month and putting it on one dashboard page. If that sounds interesting to you, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you have not done so already. Please feel free to share this video with anyone you know who might be using OneNote for planning or any other purpose for this year. And with all that out of the way, let's get started. All right, well, I'm really excited to share this with you. I am kind of on a marathon tear here of creating pages for my 2026 planner. I have an entire playlist called the 2026 Planner. If you want to start at the beginning and then catch up to where we are right now, today's video is my monthly dashboard page, okay? In the last video that I created, we made our inbox page, which looks like this. It's a very simple page. It starts out very clean and blank at the beginning of every month, but this was a great starting place, okay? If you want to learn about that, there's a link up above, and I'll leave it below, my 2026 inbox page, okay? All right, let's go ahead and start with a new page. So I'm going to go over here to Add Page, and when I do, you're going to see that it brings up that black background with all of my links already up at the top, ready to go. And so all we need to do now is start building. So this is going to be my monthly dashboard page. So I'm going to give this page a title like that. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to build like a master page that I can use every month. And then as we start building the months, I'll just be able to copy it and move it forward. Okay? All right. Now, everything that I build in OneNote, I love to build in tables. So for this particular page, I'm going to start with a 4-column table. So I'm going to go up here to the Insert menu, and I'm going to drop down to Tables, and I'm going to say Insert a 4-column by, let's do 4, like a 4x4, and see how that works, okay? I probably won't need those bottom rows, but we'll see when we get there, okay? All right, so here's my little teeny tiny table, which I think is really cute. All right, so I need to make this container the width of my page, like so that as I add things, it fills in. And the first thing that I always like to put up at the top is people always want to know, okay, who created this? So I usually put Crystal Clear Life up there. Let's see. There we go. And we can change the font of any of this stuff that we want to. I tend to like that font, so we'll leave that there. And there's a blank space up here for some reason, so I'm going to get rid of that, okay? Now, the first thing that I put in all of my monthly dashboards is I put the calendar way over here on this side. So I like to leave space for the calendar that goes in here, okay? And if you've watched me for any time, you know that I use the long-term calendar from Calendarpedia, and what I do is I save space for myself to copy this entire month. And so what I'll do is I'll go in here and make a copy of it, and I'll go back here and I'll leave a space for the calendar, and I'll insert that month like that, okay? Now, one of the cool things about nesting these tables the way that I do is I now have this January calendar, which is a table. It's a 3-column table nested inside my 4-column table. And that's going to keep everything kind of organized and orderly, and that's going to be really, really nice, okay? All right, so I'm going to leave that there for now, just so you guys have an idea of how the dashboard works. And then the next section that I like to do here, and I'll just put these titles in here for you, are some of my like monthly tasks that I need to do. Okay. And so what I do here is, again, I'm going to nest some tables. I usually do things like from my home section. So let's go up here to house, and let's say we're going to copy this January section. Um, this is my yearly home maintenance list that I created from some inspiration that I found on Pinterest, and I started adding my own things in there that I need to do specifically for my house. Okay, so I'll take that back, my 2026 page, and I will paste that in here. So now I have January set up for that, okay? And there are some other things other than house. I also have some finance things that I like to do. And so for January's finance, I can copy those. So Control C to copy. And we'll go back to our year long. Let's tab and add another row. And then I can paste. And let's see. January, let's give that a title. Let's do this. January home maintenance. And we actually don't need January. Let's just do home maintenance. And then down here, we can highlight all of this, and we will insert a row above that. And this will be finance tasks. Okay, and I can color shade that if I'd like. Maybe I want a little bit darker blue. Okay, so I can do that. Clean these columns up a little bit so that they fit. There we go. Okay, so now I have my home maintenance tasks, I have my finance tasks, and then if I want to add something else, I can do tab. Let's say I have holiday tasks that I want to add in here as well. And again, I can give those a color. Holiday tasks, let's make that a little bit darker. Okay, and then I can tab. And let's do no color for this one. And then I can go and find my holiday tasks for January. Okay, so here's my monthly overview from last month, and I have things here for January. So I'm going to take those, copy those, and take them back to 2026. So I have holiday tasks that I have to do right here. Logging the gifts that I received, writing the thank you notes, recording the Christmas cards that came in, start putting the decorations away, all of that kind of stuff, okay? All right, so you can see why this is really my landing spot, because I have all of the tasks that I have to do on a monthly basis, and they're all listed right here, okay? Now, some of these you see just have little diamonds beside them. Some of them have little dots beside them. Some of them have actually little check boxes beside them. These check boxes are customized tags. I have a whole series of videos on how I use customized tags. If I wanted to make all of these, items here for my budget kinds of things, customized tags also, I could simply highlight all of that, go up to my tags, and say I have one that's already called budget items. So I could go down here to budget task, click on that. Okay, and now all of these are budget tasks. Okay, so then when I finish reviewing my financial goals for the year, I can check it off. Okay, if I am using them like this and I don't have them marked off as customized tags, usually what I do is then if I have finished them, like cleaning the oven, I will either go up to my draw tool and I'll choose a highlighter and I'll say, yep, I cleaned the oven, and I'll mark it off that way to say that it's been done. Or I will go back to my home page, and I will highlight the information that's there, like check the gutters, and then I will highlight them this way using the highlighter there, so that checking the gutters was something that was taken care of. Okay, so either way works. If you just want to highlight when they're done, um, or if you want to create customized tags, however you would like to do it. Okay, all right, let's see. Let me clean this up a little bit now that I've made some marks here, because I'm trying to create a master in addition to teaching you guys how I'm doing this. So we'll say no color for right now. Okay, and I can get rid of these little dots if I want, like so. Oops. Okay. All right. There we go. Okay, so now I have my monthly task. I have my appointments. I have my monthly task, what I need to do for the month for the house, for finance, and my holiday tasks. Okay, all right. The next thing that I'm going to put in here, and this is kind of a fun section for me. Let's go up here and I'll label this currently. And my currently section is always fun because that's where I include things like what I am currently reading, what I'm currently watching, what I'm currently wearing, what I'm currently dreaming about, what I'm currently eating, okay? And all that really is if you wanted to create something like that, is I go to table or insert, and I'm going to insert another table. Actually, let's do it down here. Insert another table, and I want it 2 columns because I want the subject, and then I want to be able to have a space to fill it in. And I'll do 8 of them. And like I said, I will do, I am currently reading, watching, eating, wearing, listening to, visiting, whatever you want it to be, whatever you want to keep track of that you are currently doing, okay? You can do that, and then you can go back up here as you're going through your month and saying, okay, I'm currently reading the New Year's Quilt, and you can add that in there, and I'm still catching up on the Gilmore Girls, because boy, there were a lot of episodes, and I'm eating lots of soup. I've tried a new carrot soup recipe that I'm really liking. Layers, layers of scarves. As you can see, a little cold in here today. I think it's in the teens. And I have the window open so that the curtains pulled back so that I can film. And so it's cold in here. Okay. All right. So you get the idea for that. What the currently section is. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And then the last one, I have a whole section that I set aside for garden. It's tasks, but it gets its own little section here. Okay, so let's do that. Let's go to my master gardener list, which I have over here. And you can see in my master gardener list, this is a resource that I downloaded from a state's extension agency that was in the zone that I am in. So I'm in zone 7A, okay? And so I found a gardener list that, again, was a good starting point, and I took this information like this. I can do this, copy this information, pulled the text out of it, and then I started creating my own list. And I add to that list all of the time. As I get new plants, I add them on here. So for example, you can see down here for 2024, I added that I had sedum and gaura and heuchera that I added to the garden. So I wanted to make sure that I had those here on the list to maintain and to look for, okay? So what I do every month is I simply come into the section or the list that I have for January, and I would highlight that like so, just for January, copy it, and take it back to my monthly dashboard, and then I would paste it here in my garden section. Okay, so I have that like that. Okay, now again, if I want to, I can take all of these things and I can turn them into tags. I can go up here and say, make them a garden task. Okay, and now I have little check boxes that I can check things off as I do them. Okay. All right, now I can then come back in here and adjust these columns however I would like. I like to make the container the entire width of the page that I have, because then I can use this, these three little dots here in the middle, right there. I can kind of use that as my center, and then I can kind of keep things organized that way on the screen. Okay, and so I can kind of set them the way that I want, like so. And I love the flexibility of being able to do that, because sometimes I will come in here to my monthly calendar and I'll say, you know what, insert another column to the right of that, because I want to make a whole list of meals. I want to go ahead and plan out my whole meals for the entire month. So I like to be able to do that. Also, under currently, if I wanted to, I could come down here and I could add something else. Let's give myself some more things to do for the currently section. Okay. And then I could come outside of that simply by hitting the enter key, and I could actually insert, another table if I wanted to, even if it's a one column table. I could say, actually, let's go a two column table, and I could say birthdays for the people whose birthdays it is. So maybe this is, on January 15th. It is Pam's birthday. Okay, so I can list that. Anything that I want to kind of keep track of, I can kind of do on this, this big page that I have, this dashboard page. Okay, so I also like to leave some room for decor, because I like to make it pretty. I like to put some pretty things on here. But really, that's the essence of my page. I have my calendar. I have my monthly tasks that I need to do. I have my currently section that I keep track of, and I have my in the garden section. Okay. Now, I have labeled these at the top up here for you guys, but I don't need that whole row. So I'm going to take that whole row out right here. So I'm going to highlight that whole row, and I'm going to say delete table, delete rows, and that's going to get rid of that. Okay. Now, again, because this is in a container, I can move this container up or down, whatever I need to do to get it to look exactly the way I want it to look on the page. Okay. All right. Now, the other thing that I like to do is, you see all of these grid lines from this large container, this large table that I put everything in. Well, I don't necessarily like those big sections of grid lines. So I'm going to click in one of the empty sections of the big table, and I'm going to go up here to table and see down here where it says hide borders. I'm going to click on that, and it's going to get rid of all of the lines on that big table. Now you can see how differently the page looks with all of those lines gone. But when I'm building the page, I like to see those borders so that I can get things organized and lined up, okay? If I wanted to, I could say I want everything on this page centered. So I could go down here to the center mark and watch what happens when I click center. So it kind of moves everything around and evenly spaces them. Remember, I also can go back in here and add or increase the width of any of the columns that I have here. Maybe I need a little bit more space for my meal planning. I can do that. Maybe I want this section a little bit more narrow. I can do that. Whatever works for me, I can modify it, the way that I want it to be. This one here kind of centered everything. I think that looks weird. I don't like that at all. So I'm going to go back up here to this one and say, no, I want that one aligned left. I like that much better. Okay. And this will give me some places to put, pictures and that kind of thing. Okay. All right, so you guys see how I set up my dashboard page. Then I have room for decor, and then every month when I come in, I simply need to go to those various pages and pull those items that I need to help keep myself organized for that month. Okay? All right. Well, I love my dashboard pages. I think they work really, really well. I hope you've learned something today about creating your own dashboard or landing page. I find them to be very, very helpful, and I love being able to customize them for every single month. Okay? All right, before I forget, let's get rid of those borders. There we go. That's looking better to me. All right, so again, I'm going to keep going, but I'm going to stop this video right here so that you guys can work on your dashboard page without me moving on to other things. And I will add this to the 2026 playlist so that you can keep up with all the things that we're doing. Okay? All right, well, here's hoping that you can live a more simplified and organized life through better planning. I use OneNote. Until next time, okay, bye.